Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Rightio. Today, I thought I'd do something, a simple little job, but needs to be done. I utilise a set of chisels for my work. It's only a Irwin Marple set. It's got a nice little steel stopper at the end, so I can use a conventional modern hammer, steel hammer, to belt them. Not a bad set. Relatively cheap if you're starting out and you need a set. So basically, the idea is I've been using these for quite a while. Inevitably, when you're using chisels, especially on existing structures, you find that random nail, random screw. So there's a couple that I have had to rehone. And they just need a good little sharpen just to ensure that I do a nice clean cut when I'm operating. So yeah, little instructional video on how to either rehone, resharpen, bring up your older chisels or new chisels like new, get a good cutting edge on them. Right, yeah, so to begin with, just going to rehone a few of them. This angle here, I know there's specific angles that people say that you need. I like a nice acute angle that I can then go and put that second bevel on. Doesn't last as long as if you have a more obtuse angle, but that's what I like. So we'll just get into it. When you start, I've got my little tub of water underneath to ensure that the tip stays cool. Moving it across the surface, try not to push it into the grinding wheel on the edge. Go on the full face, then work left to right, pull it off. When you feel it getting a bit hot, dunk it in the water to cool it off. One thing to keep in mind with your narrower chisels is they will heat a lot quicker than the wider ones, so just be aware of the heat. And I will also utilise the wire wheel just to take off this surface rust, and then I'll give it a hit with some WD. Okay, so we've given the chisels a bit of a hit on the grinding wheel. Now to bring them over to our stones. Now, so I have this is just a cheap set of diamond stones. Does the job. To begin with, you want it nice and firm on the stone. No need to push too hard on these diamonds. I'm going to find the honing point that I put on the grinding wheel and then just pivot up to give it a second bevel. Beautiful. And I'm just going to progress down, continuing the process. The only thing to keep in mind is you need to match that secondary bevel each time. So there's my primary, lifting it up. So if I just show you there, you can see honing and that secondary bevel just on the end there, all the way down to the finest. So we do also hone the back just to ensure that the perimeter is nice and flat. That is sharp enough for you and I. You can get the shavings, quick little strop on the leather. Just to bring that nice shine to it. So, there we have beautiful sharpened chisel. Okay, so I had a bit of a technical difficulty. The video that I cut showing the final process of applying WD-40 to them and explaining the chisels, the mic cut out. So just a quick little loop back to it then. After honing and sharpening the chisels, I then apply a bit of WD to it, give them a bit of a wipe down. You will find that the oil will penetrate into the steel a little bit just to prevent that rust. Keep in mind the difference between sharpening the wider and the narrower chisels. Remember your pressure. There's a lot more surface area on this, so they will heat slower on the grinding wheel than the smaller one. They will heat quite quickly. When honing them on the stones, a lot easier to keep the flat, level plane with the wider. The narrower ones do take a little bit more care. I do like this set that I use for work. I do like the fact that they have the little plastic stoppers. They tend to protect the blade quite a bit. Keeps that edge on there nice and sharp. If you're after a cheap set, I reckon go on. So this is the set that I had when I was on the tools as a carpenter. That is also a maple set. Doesn't have the steel cap at the end, but the plastic, whatever we call this plastic, stands up to a lot of abuse. These chisels that I made this little set, forgive the horrible carpentry, it was just a freehand router, little spot at the end so you can get your finger in to get them out. But yeah, I've had this set for 20 odd years. So the hard case, I also suggest something to keep them together, whether it's a canvas roll, timber box, what the manufacturers provide you, something to keep that edge protected when you're working. You can then put them down, make sure that they're safe, they're not going to get damaged. Thank you very much for watching, guys. There you go. Nice, simple instructional on how to clean and re-hone your chisels. Thank you.